Alright, 26 minutes in, DeadPool 4-day print, full roll of filament, and damn, that thing is printing noise. I mean, granted, it's only the very first layer, but you can see that it's like perfectly smooth, no spider webbing, no stringing. I mean, perfect. I need to stop saying that, because every time I say it's going good, it's perfect, something happens. There's nothing left to happen. That is like perfect. Keep you updated. And the longest build I've ever done. It's a 4-day print. I've got already 3 layers down. And it took 2 hours and 38 minutes. All the way up to 0%. You've seen the title, so you know what I'm printing. I might as well say it, I suppose. It's gonna be DeadPool in black gloss filament. Probably going to be a little bigger than that. Faceless was a good print. He only took 51 hours, 52 hours, something like that. This one's supposed to be 4 days. It's 96 hours. I'm hoping the math is wrong on Cura, because it's actually the same height as the faceless. Definitely a lot wider, a lot more detail, but it's only around 350 millimeters high. Yes, we're going to find out. Well, 4 hours and 47 minutes in, we're all up to 0%. Completing, I think it's the 4th or 5th first layers. And it is doing frigging awesome. That thing looks like glass. Does not need to be that detailed, but you know what? I'm not going to reslice it. It's printing, it's working, and we're good to go. So hopefully that is going to be turning into this in about 36 hours, and then this in about 4 days, or somewhere up here. 46 minutes, 2%. It's almost got the base done. Not sure why there's a line there. Besides habit, actually. I don't remember that from the print. But anyway, or from the STL. And unlike my skull, which you saw in my faceless that had the stringing between on these, this one is not. Oh, there's a little bit there actually. So I'm thinking it's the filament, possibly, not my retraction. Because this one's only doing it here. That's actually the only spot I see it. But I also realized and forgot, I'm not doing straight up and down support. It's concentric, so it kind of angles over and angles the other way. Hopefully you can see that. So I wonder if that might have a bit to do with my stringing issue. And that crystal filament just did not like it. But this is just the regular black from ZYL Tech. And their filament I've never had an issue with. It's the only filament I've used on this printer for my majority of my prints, other than a couple little pieces that just because of the color. Now on my Delta printer, I've only used the WXY filament, which works fabulous. Don't have any issue with it. But the ZYL Tech, well, actually October 1st this year they just had a price increase. They're the same price now. I just realized what I was saying. Yeah, so they're the same price. I was using them because they're slightly cheaper, like $4 a roll cheaper. But now they're the same price. But now saying that, the XYZ Works probably went up as well. So I haven't bought any in a while because I haven't honestly been using my Delta in a bit. My Chiron is so much bigger, so much faster. I'm gonna have to think of something to print on the Delta. We gotta do something. Poor thing's just collecting dust. Can't sell it. I've got more material and time in it than a brand new one costs. With all the upgrades and everything I've done to that, the stepper drivers, the bigger motors, the power supply. They come with power supplies now. When I bought mine, it didn't. You just plugged a little power pack into the wall and then into the board. I put the power supply in mine that now comes with the new ones. Put the LED lights on it, put the bigger fans. I mean, I did quite a bit to that. I can't sell it for the price that they're selling new ones for now. I actually would save money using that for parts, because most of it fits the Chiron. The belts will work, the drivers will work, the fans will work. The power supply is too small for the Chiron, but for like LEDs and other things I could use the power supply. The screen I could probably just sell. It's the big tech one, but I don't know. I thought about making it into a router or a laser engraver, but I don't know. Poor thing. Just need to find someone new enough to 3D printing that they know how to use it, and they want one that's all built up and ready to go. You know, no modifications needed. Works right out of the back seat of the car. It won't come in a box. But not someone so new that they can't do the programming, because honestly, I can't just sit down and teach someone how to 3D print. I mean, it took me all this time, and I'm still learning. There's things I just learned the other day that I didn't even know you could possibly do, or ways to make it easier. So yeah, there's no way I'm just going to teach someone how to use or how to 3D print. That ain't going to happen. I don't have that kind of time or patience. I'm not very patient. But anyway, back to what we're doing here. That base is, other than these little cracks that I'm not sure what they're for, it is like perfect on the outside. There's a couple stringings on the inside I'm seeing here and there. But yeah, the outside, I've always said that about the Anycubic printers, even my Delta. The inside might have a little stringing because it's not perfect, but the outside, I mean, seriously, it's always perfect. I mean, you can see all my prints. Even this, it's a shark's tooth. Quit being weird. Even my shark tooth is just perfect. Actually, really close up, you can see there's a little bit of Z-banding there. I don't know if you can see that. But I didn't file this or anything. This is just popped right off the printer, and then I cut the supports off. Didn't sand it, didn't file it, didn't do nothing. That's off the Chiron. This is off the Delta, and definitely you can see the Z-banding in it. Haven't built one on the, and this is two parts. You can see where it's glued together, and they're like an inch up from the bottom. I haven't done this on the Chiron yet. Also got a TIE Fighter over there and a Voyager. I need to do that. But Halloween's coming, so I'm doing, well, you can see from the title, this is DeadPool. And then I did Faceless. And then I'm going to do the three skulls. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and end this. And going by the time and the percentage, we'll be back in about another 12 hours. It might be up another inch. 17 hours in, 4%. Other than a little bit of stringing there, a little there, I guess, but that's going to be inside the frame. But otherwise, doing pretty good. So almost 21 hours at 6%. And this is what we've got. Just started doing the base of the body. See his two swords back there? Sort of. There you can see him. Not sure what happened there. Coming out pretty good. And yes, that's at 72 millimeters a second. And we're just almost 23 hours and 7%. I was just checking the lips that it did here. Get it on the camera or not, if you can see it. There's a little something there, I don't know what happened, but the lips, the overhangs, everything seems to be doing really good. And then those concentric fills, I haven't decided yet if I like those. You see these, they're not straight up and down. They're kind of at an angle. It's supposed to use less filament and be a lot stronger. You know, 10% is supposed to be 30% infill and 20% is like 50% infill. I don't know. That little clicking you just heard, there's a little tab of filament that, for whatever reason, is sticking up. Probably the Z-hop, it left a little tab right there. And then when the nozzle hits it, it just sounds loud, but it doesn't seem to really affect it at all. The only thing I have found is doing this concentric infilling is there is a lot of stringing that happens. But if you look at the rest of it, I mean, like the outside edge and the top layer, there's no stringing. It's like perfect. It only strings inside. So my other two videos, all that string is inside only. But yeah. So we're at, you know, like I said, 1 day of the 4-day print. Not quite a full day. We're like an hour away from it. So in 3 more days, I'll be up here somewhere. Right now we're about 30 hours in, 16%, and it's still hitting that thing right there. Oh, there it is. But, looks like we're doing pretty good from so far. Just a quick little update. And from the back, never noticed before, but the swords, oh, because one has to overlap the other. That'd be right. And almost 32 hours in. Doesn't look too bad so far. Few hours. 4-day print. The biggest and the longest print I've ever done. And 35 hours in, still looking pretty good. Which, obviously, why wouldn't it? Cool. "36 hours in, and only 23%. I'm looking pretty good so far. I know it's hard to see with this camera and this lighting. Let's see if we can add light to it. That'll help. Yeah. Alright, he's difficult to see. But about 25% of the way in. Hopefully I don't have any problems. It looks really, really shiny. It's not quite that shiny in person. It looks like on the camera. Still got a little bit of spider webbing inside. That's inside. Honestly, not that big of a deal. I mean, I need to fix that. But actually, kind of makes it stronger, and it's all on the inside, so we'll deal with it for now. I'm not going to stop the print to try to calibrate it. I'm just going to let it run. And let's see, probably used a sixth of the reel. Oh, there you can see. There we go. And I'm going to say it, I shouldn't, but my temps are right around 205. They don't much fluctuate. Maybe 204, 206, but they never go like 203 or 207 by any means. Never. Bed temp, I can't say that I've ever seen the temperature on the bed move at all. It's always been right there at 55. So it's about that time to crash. Probably back in 7, 8 hours. Take a look at what we got. Like I said, this one's supposed to be 4 days. Just over 1.5 days. Looks pretty damn good. You see my IP camera there. I have that up so I can watch it at night or when I'm not home. And here we are, 46 hours in, 34%. I know I don't have the best lighting going on at the moment. And we are actually past the hard part. There's 2 overhangs that are really difficult to see. And there's one over there, that's the bottom of his arms. Everything comes in from there, there's no other overhangs. And we are doing really, really good until I hit the camera. I'll have some better lighting here in a little bit. Alright, so we're 50 hours in. Right at 50 hours. 39%. And we are going good. Move you back a little bit. No issues, no problems as yet. As yet. We're not going to have any. It's going to be going perfectly fine. So we're pretty much just coming in from the widest point. We've already moved in about a 1/4 inch, so we made it past the widest part. Now everything's just going to kind of taper in as it comes up to do the head and the swords in the back, or sword handles. So hopefully, in another 48 hours, maybe sooner. It's actually moving a little quicker, but I don't know, 50 hours and we're only at 40%. We might be looking at 100 hours? No. Hopefully not. It's supposed to be right around 96, 97 hours. This will be the longest print, the largest print, and the most successful print. Hopefully. Alright, we'll let it get back to printing. Well, here we are, officially the longest build print I've ever had. 55 hours. 44%. Looks pretty damn good. We're just up past the arms there. We still got the entire chest and the shoulders and then obviously the head to do. But DeadPool is looking pretty damn good. And we're at 57 hours, 46 minutes. Still doing pretty good. I don't see any issues. Temps rock steady. Filament, we still got some. Well, we're not quite halfway to the maximum. I think we're about maybe 40% of our build height. Plenty of room yet. So, right about 60 hours, we hit 50%. So 60 hours, 50%. We're at 61 hours now and 51%. Got roughly about another, what was it? 96 hours. We're at 61, so you got about another 34 hours. Another 34 to 35 hours. Boy. So far, that is looking damn good. I did adjust the tensioner a little bit. I got rid of those little spiderweb stringy things on the inside. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you should be able to. All right, you're way too close. Let's back you up a little bit. There, you can see him. And he came out, it is coming out good. Now you can see over here where we originally got killed when the thermistor died on us. That was at 36 hours. Don't remember what the percentage was, to be honest. So, yeah, there's that. For some reason, you can see it right there. The one I'm printing now, compared to the one I printed then a couple weeks ago, is much shinier. It's the exact same filament. Definitely a lot more calibration, some linear advance. I did the 100 millimeter extrusion, and I, set up my steppers and everything. The extruder motor. So definitely it looks a lot shinier for some reason. It's the same brand of filament. It's out of the same box. Maybe it's just because this one's been out. I mean, this one's shiny and nice and perfectly smooth. It's very smooth, and you can see the shine there. But it's not as shiny as that one. I actually didn't realize that until I had them next to each other. Interesting. There's what the back of it will look like with the swords. That's supposed to be in there. It's a dent in the scabbard, I guess. And that was not the extruder motor clicking. On these edges, there's little pieces. I think I have too much fan or airflow, but the filament will curl up, and then when the hot end hits it, it kind of clicks and pushes through it. But it's just a little tiny piece that makes no noise. First few times I heard that, I was like, what? But yeah, I think the dual fans I have sitting on top might be too much airflow. But it's the same setup I had with this and all my other prints. I might knock it down. Right now it's at 100%. I might actually turn that down to like 75 and see what happens. Not now. I ain't doing nothing to interrupt with this print. But when I have a couple of little ones, they're only like 10, 15 hours, I'll mess with the fan, turn it down, and see if that helps. Yeah, we are doing great. I kind of like that shininess. So, another 35 hours or so. And I'll be back periodically to, show our progress, see what his face comes in at, see when we start doing the head and the sword handles separate. I don't foresee any kind of issues with it, to be honest. Like right there, there was a little click. Probably a piece, oh there it is, sticking out. Right here in the front, right on the corner, for some reason, it clicks, there's a little piece that'll stick up a hair. But then once it goes through it once, the next layer is fine. Alright, well, we'll be back. Getting ever closer to completing this monstrous build. We are 74 hours in. 67%. It looks like we're just completing the shoulders. And then it'll do the front part of his vest, and then his head, and then of course the two handles for his swords back there. But going pretty good with all the fixes and calibrations and all the issues I went through in the past to get to this point. Again, just another reminder of where we last finished, so we can put in there. That was the farthest we got. We've definitely doubled that by now. Still amazed at how much shinier it is with the calibrations and everything I've done. The exact same printer, the exact same, filament, the same temperatures, everything's exactly the same. I don't know why it's shinier, but as you can see, it definitely is. Nothing's changed other than, the calibrations and the linear advance. I recalibrated my stepper for the extruder on the filament extrusions. Apparently I just got a much better resolution now, I guess. But we're, like I said, 67% in, so we're, just over the 2/3 mark. Going good. Well, here we are, 70 hours, 61%. It's pretty damn good. It's very good. Guesstimating about another 26 hours, so probably this time tomorrow we should be done. I had to move my filament spool from the normal spool holder up to my bearing ones. Notice when it got this high that it wasn't having any issues, but that filament was pulling from down here at the bottom. I suppose I could have flipped it so it was on the top, and it might have been okay. But I had the bearing rollers, so I just put it on there, and as I rock your world, I just put it on those little rollers. It works great, so that's where we are so far. Pretty damn good. So we just hit 80 hours. 76%. 80 hours. And doing damn good. I'm not sure if that's his chin or his neck, to be honest. I think the part coming out might be the bottom of his chin, to be honest. I'd have to bring the print up to look. So we might be done a lot sooner. We were guesstimating 96 hours and we're at 80. So another 16 hours is what it's supposed to be done. And we all know cure is usually off by an hour or two, and it ends up being longer. This looks like it might be faster. Either way though, it's coming out really nice. Kind of getting worried about my roll of filament. You can see, well, you can't see. is right about here. And that was a full roll when we started. We're down to here. Now, according to Kira, it's only supposed to use 291 meters. On a 1 kilogram roll, there's roughly 300. So I should have about 10 meters left over when all's said and done. I can't honestly say I've ever tested it to this extent to where, you know, I know hours-wise, time-wise, Kira's always off a couple hours. If it's off a few meters, I mean, I've definitely already gone through. I know I can switch it. We did that in a past video. I don't even remember what I was printing. Oh, I think I was printing Lucy. That I switched the filament. Well, I ran out of filament and had to start a new roll. So if that does become the case, we can definitely do that. But I wasn't looking for this to be finished up until tomorrow afternoon. And it looks like it might be late tonight while I'm sleeping. So before I go to bed, we'll be looking at that roll of filament. I might have to just snip it off over here. You see my finger off there to the right? And just put a new roll on it. Because the last damn thing I want is, after all the bullshit I've gone through, and spend 80, 90 hours on this, to have a screw up because I ran out of filament. I would not be a happy camper. Of course, we could always do the headless DeadPool. Print his head off separate and make it detachable. No, that is not happening with this print. I was just looking, I thought it made a mistake there, but it actually hasn't finished printing there. Still printing. Alright, well, we'll see you later. So you can see what I thought earlier was his chin was his neck. This is his chin. See if we can get you in there a little closer to see that. Yeah, kind of. Trust me, that's his chin. And we are 86 hours in. Let me get this to focus. I don't know why my camera did not like that thing. Oh, come on. There we go. 86 hours exactly, and 86%. Very little filament. We're down to here. And we still got 14% to go. Yeah. And it's bedtime. I need to go to bed. Up to 87%. The only issue I have is it's really, really going to be close on filament. I should have 10 millimeters left over when it's all said and done. Again, like I've said, like with the time with Cura, it says it's going to be 90 hours, it's 93 hours. Filament says it's going to be 291 meters. Is it? Is there exactly 300 millimeters on that roll? That's just an estimate for the weight. Could be 320. Could be 290. So, I have that dilemma. Because it would really not be good to wake up in the morning and find out I ran out of filament. Now this does have the filament sensor. It will just stop and pause. So it's not going to damage the print or just keep printing in the air and think it finished when it didn't. It will actually stop the program on my Anycubic Chiron. but that's great, and the print head should just stop right where it's at. I don't think it lifts. I think it just sits right where it runs out when that sensor, when the filament's gone, it just stops. So let's say it stopped right where it is. The filament or the hot end will just keep, heating that little piece of plastic. If it's on the inside, in here, probably no big deal. But if it's out on the edge, that would be an issue. Now, I had a print the other day that was really close and I thought would be done at 8 a.m. Or no, let me rephrase it. I thought I'd be out of filament at 8 a.m. It actually lasted another 6 hours. So, yeah. So that's where we are. Decision time on whether or not cut the filament, click the pause button, put a new reel on, click continue, and just not worry about it and be done tomorrow when I get up. I kind of really want to test it. I want to make sure my printer does what it says. I really don't want to waste 96 hours is what it's supposed to take. I don't think it's going to be 96 hours. It's printing fairly quick. We're already up to 87%. I think it's probably going to be done in maybe 3-4 hours. Probably at 90 hours, not 96 like Kira said. I could be wrong. The smart thing is just change out the filament and put a new roll on it. That way, regardless of what happens, we know we got a decent print. Also run the risk of possible issues. Shouldn't have issues. But one thing I have been noticing is when I change out rolls of filament, my extruder up there likes to get stuck the first meter or so, and I have to manually babysit it and make sure it feeds correctly. I don't know why. I don't know if it's moisture in the filament. I don't know if it's diameter of the filament. I don't know if it's just my extruders doesn't like me. So what I think I'm going to do, and yes, I do see a little bit of stringing on the back of the sword handles there. I don't think it's showing up on camera, but I'll show you when it gets done printing. I won't clean it up or anything. Actually, those are probably the only things I'm going to have to clean up. Everything else looks damn good. But I think I am just going to let it print. And I will just set an alarm to come down and check it in like 4 hours. See what's what. That is a damn nice print. Still haven't figured out. I've looked on the forums. I've looked on a few YouTube videos. There are some instances where if you run your temperature hotter, you can change the filament, whether it's shinier or if it's more of a matte black. I haven't changed the temperature settings, however. 205 is what I print at. It's at 205. The other print, you can kind of see over there to the left, is 205. My faceless is 205. All those prints on my table are printed at 205, including the skull mask. This print, obviously, is really shiny. Don't know. Looks damn good, though. Yeah, I think I'm just going to come back and check it in 4 hours. That'll put me right at 90 hours. According to the cure and the steppage of it, we should be right 91, 92% at that point. And I should have plenty of filament. If it's 300 meters as the estimate for the weight is. No, that's one thing that they should. Well, Cura tells you how much filament you're going to use. I don't know how accurate that is. You'd think there'd be a way on the printer itself to tell you how much filament you've extruded. Like even if you were buying a used one. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. You could just change the hot end, and that'd be kind of an interesting little measurement to have. Tell you how much filament you have used. I suppose just like the filament sensor over here. Oh, you can't see him, but he's right here, like it is on all Chirons. You could put something in there that, like, as the filament goes through, it turns a little gear, maybe. It counts how many meters you've used. I might look into that. Is it needed? Oh, hell no. It'd be kind of cool, though, to keep track of how much filament I've used. I mean, I can obviously count my spools and estimate that each one has 300 meters of filament on it. Let's say I've gone through, let's just say a round number of 100 spools. You just tack on, multiply it by 300 meters. Oh, I was just looking, I thought it was stringing. So I'd put it out roughly at 30,000 meters, or 30 kilometers. When you think about it like that, damn, I've used a lot of filament. And I don't even think I print that much compared to some of these guys. Some of these guys have 2, 3, 10, 20 printers running at a time. I have typically one. Yes, my Delta is right there, and he's going to get starting to use this weekend again. I got a ton of little small parts I need to print, and they can both run at the same time and do them. There's absolutely nothing wrong with my Delta printer. He's just a quarter of the size in all directions. I mean, physically, I'm close to the same height. I think he's probably, 15 millimeters shorter in overall height. But with that hot end the way it is on the Delta, it severely limits my height. And then the round parameters of the print, I'm trying to remember, I think that is, if I remember right, I think it's 220 millimeters circular. Might be 230, but I think it's 220 circular, and then 300 for a maximum height. It's actually a little taller than where we are now. We're only at 278 millimeters in height right now. So it'd be another 22 millimeters higher. So probably right about here. Well, right about here-ish. But it could never build anything like this. It does not have the detail that the Chiron does. It just couldn't do that. Even if I scaled him down, he wouldn't have that kind of detail on him from that printer. Same slicer, same size, hot end. It's a 0.4. Same Marlin software, actually. It is. It's, well, not the same version, but it's the same, the same programming. It's Marlin. This has, I think, 131, and the Delta has, I believe, it's 119 on the Delta, and this has 131. I didn't upgrade my Delta because it works flawlessly as it is. And this one, I think there's even a newer couple of firmwares out than what I have on here, the 131. But like I've said before, if it's not broken, I'm not going to fix that kind of stuff. Now the modifications definitely were not broken, but they make it print better. The newer firmware, is it going to make it print better? Not really. It's going to add newer features and newer options for newer printers and that kind of thing, but it's not going to make it print better. Even after all this time, I'm still amazed at how well and the detail the 3D printers print. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're slow, but if I were to carve that thing out of wood or CNC machine it, well, never mind the cost, would be astronomical. I mean, if I was to print that on a CNC machine, that'd probably cost me a few $100s. And if I was to carve it out of wood, even, and I'm not, but even if I were an expert, I don't think I would have the same detail. I just don't think you could carve that same detail out of a piece of wood. Could be wrong. There might be somebody out there that could do it. I'd like to see him do it, though. Same height, same scale. That'd be interesting, actually. You could have it, you know, what do they call it? Press or form injection molded or whatever. They take a model, let's say my print, and then they take the plastic and melt it over it, you know, and get the form and then fill it, the injection molding. You're still looking at a few $100s. Mostly just to make that the form and then to fill it. This, if I remember right, never mind the time it took, because you know, we're going to roughly be 96, 97 hours. Never mind the time, but just in material, I think it, you know, a roll of filament's what, 20 bucks? And we're probably going to use pretty close to a roll of filament. So, you know, materialistically speaking, I've got about $20 in it. The electricity that was used, the wear and tear on my printer, the belts, you know, what, another $10 in parts, electricity, say $1, and then just to round it off, just to make it nice and simple, say $30 to print it. Not counting the time, just everything but time. And then time is, what do you charge per hour? Use a nice round number, like let's say $10 an hour, and it takes 95 hours. It's $950. So we can't charge that because nobody's going to pay $1,000 for it. They're just not. So let's say you charged $1 an hour. That's still $95. Still don't think someone's going to pay $95 for that. I mean, it's good, but I'm thinking realistically someone might pay $50. And then you've got $30 in material in it. So you made $20 for your 95 hours of print time. Nope. Don't think I'm going to be mass producing anything. Well, we're up to 87% still. I was hoping it'd click over 1%, but it looks like it's going to go 1% per hour. And if that's right, we are looking at about 10 hours. It might speed up as it gets towards the top, because I think the top of his head's a little smaller. So again, just going to set my alarm, come down in 4 hours and take a look at it, see what we got going on. That's the best thing I can do for it. That way we check the filament, we make sure there's no issues, change it if we absolutely have to, but I think we're going to be good. I just want to be safe. So we'll see you in a few hours. Well, as you can see, we're still printing. 94 hours, 99%. See if I can get you down there where you can see that. And focus. There we go. And if I can focus on filament, we still have filament left. We actually have quite a bit left. I'm guessing there's probably 30, 40 meters on there. But anyway, turning it up a little higher we can see them all. Move you back a little bit. Sword handles are done. Just doing the top of his head. There's nothing left that can go wrong at this point. I should not have said that. God damn it. Anyway, looks like there's roughly about 3 millimeters yet to go up. When you saw that, we were at 347. Total height should be 350 millimeters. So if Cure is right, we've got about an hour and 45 minutes to go. When we get all said and done, I'll definitely let you know how long it took and how accurate Cure is. It's definitely sooner than what Cure has said, I think. 99% at 94 hours and 13 minutes, and it said it would be 96 hours. I guess it could take another hour and 45 to finish. Not sure why. I could definitely speed it up, but I'm not going to. It's gone this long with no issues, not messing with it. The only thing I see on it, honestly, is on the sword handles themselves. There's a little bit of stringing. Honestly, I could probably just knock those off with my fingers when they completely cool off, which they should be. But I'm going to wait till it's all done, show you what it looks like as is, and then we'll go from there. But definitely a successful print at this point. The longest print. The most material in one print I've ever done. Not quite, but almost a full reel. And then we'll take a look at him when he gets completely done. Finally, printout was done. Right about 95 hours. And no issues whatsoever with DeadPool. Now I haven't cleaned him up. I have moved him. He broke loose. You can still see he's got a little string on his head. Let me turn around and see it. There's a little bit of stringing on the back of his swords. Hopefully you can see that. I haven't cleaned anything up. This is right off the printer. He came out very, very good. Extremely shiny for some reason. You can see my watermarks. I know I printed it. For whatever reason, he's just very shiny. Set him up there for a moment. Oh, bring him back here for a minute next to my faceless. He is most definitely the tallest print I've made. Only by like almost an inch. Definitely tons more filament. I thought I broke him down to like 10%, but I think he was probably about 40%. Oops. And we got faceless is my second next biggest. And then my third next biggest is the scary skull over there. Hopefully you can see him. And the dog beds, yes, yes, yes. So anyway, let's put him up here. We'll switch cameras. You can see how well he actually came out in better light. Again, I don't know why he's so shiny. Just shiny. But here I'm looking, you actually cannot see a little bit of stringing. Up there you can kind of see it. There's a little bit of stringing on the handles of the sword. If I turn him around, can you see him? There's a little bit against the brick white wall. You might be able to see. I'm going to zoom in here. Oh, there you go. You can see him. And yeah, they're nothing bad or horrible, but they're there. They're on both sides. That's it. There's no stringing anywhere else. His shoulders came out very well. The bottom of these packets on his vest all came out very well. No flaws. I mean, none. You see his face came out. I mean, perfectly smooth. So after all that BS, he's finally done. Now I know what the hell I'm going to do with it. How much does it weigh? About a kilo. I used almost the whole reel. I didn't measure it. Let me switch back to my other camera here real quick. I actually have that much filament left. I would guess probably about 25 to 30 meters. I think I have left. I think, ish. Didn't measure it, but didn't have to worry about it. I did get up and check it, like I said. We were just right at the top of the head. We were probably right about here when I checked it. I was like, no, it's good to go. So I let it run. A little bit of cleanup on the handles. Little dot on his head, the last part where the hot end pulled away. I guess you can't see that. Where the hot end just pulled away. Just left that little nipple right there. Oh, now you can see it. You can also see the stringing on that sword handle to the right. Now you can see him. Again, not bad, but definitely something needs to be cleaned up. Came out damn good. So, my Anycubic Chiron printer with the 2208 TMC stepper drivers upgrades, all the other mods you've seen in my other videos. I think we're all set. Just wanted to share the final product of him finally. Thank you.